Let's see how the champion's journey took place in the tournament. SidSuryan, who was rated 1471 at the beginning of the tournament, started his campaign against Balasubramanian in round 1. E4, E5, we have a Giko piano. Siddharth went for C3. Bala plays a natural knight F6, D4, pawn takes, and now Siddharth plays this tricky line in the in the Giko piano. If black players do not know this, it's very important that you understand. Black should not play knight e4. That was a move played by Bala, which is actually a mistake because queen e2 simply traps the knight. Because the only way to defend this knight would be with d5, right? But then you'll just take on passant. And then you'll have to again defend it with f5 or bishop f5. So basically, white's up by a pawn. And then he'll recapture here. It's a good position for white. So in this position, after d4, pawn takes e5, black has to play d5. That is the only move that keeps equality. If pawn takes knight, then pawn takes bishop. And if pawn takes pawn, rook g8. That is fine. And if pawn takes 1%, then just queen takes back. And it's fine. The move played here by white will be bishop b5. And then you can play knight e4. Because there is no 1% now. And then white will recapture. Bishop moves. And the game will go on. Right? Knight, bishop d2, knight takes, and the game goes on. In this game, though, Bala did not know this line, and after e5, he just played knight e4, allowing queen e2, and then he blundered the knight g5. Just a free piece. f6 was played, but pawn takes pawn with check from the queen. King moves, and now the queen's gone. Pawn takes pawn check, and white wins the queen. From here, it was just a basic matter of basic conversion. He just castles to keep his pieces safe. Bala makes it a little easier by exchanging of his pieces. Another free piece. And now checkmate follows with the two bishops. Black blocks it, but bishop takes rook checkmate. That was his first game. In the second round, he faced Jayant Verma, who was rated 1033. Let's see what happened. Jayant played e4, Siddharth plays his c5 Sicilian line. Here, Jayant plays knight takes knight, which actually helps black. Any Sicilian player would like it if the opponent takes on c6, because then he gets a b pawn to the center, which helps him play d5 very soon. Siddharth just takes his pieces out normally, getting ready to castle. This move is important so as to stop bishop g5 pin. h6 castles, h3, d6. He could have played d5 directly actually. Okay, he just holds himself back. And now Siddharth gets a good position. The pawns are doubled. After bishop e6, after developing all the pieces, now he goes for d5. Pawn takes, and it's a nice position for black. Black is threatening pawn e4 fork. So Jain moves his queen back. Rook c1, attacking the knight moves here. Queen c6. Now you can see that the queen is hitting the knight and the pawn. So knight went back, but now the pawn is being attacked. It's defended by the bishop. Siddharth just plays e4, kicking the bishop away. There's only one square for the bishop, e2. And the pawn falls. Exchange of queens being offered. He takes it. And rook c3 picks up another pawn. Gets this pawn. Now the e3 pawn is also being attacked. It's very difficult to defend it. Doesn't defend it. So first Siddharth attacks the b5 bishop. And he gets the b pawn also. Now he takes the e pawn. So basically 4 pawns up by now. And he also has a pin on this knight. It's basically a lost position. And how do we take advantage of this pin? By using the pawn. And the pawn just marches down the board. Check is just a free piece because bishop takes rook is just an exchange. Right? So you get the rook and you give up the exchange. And you're still winning because the pin still stays. And a3. Now here after king moves, Siddharth plays another nice move. He doesn't take immediately, he plays a2. Getting the pawn even more closer to the end. Rook takes, king moves, and rook takes g2. King moves, Black plays bishop e6, not letting king rook takes, so king takes. Pawn d4, and the d pawn is also marching forward. And you can see that white cannot take on h7. He has to move to g7 actually, but he plays h5, which is another blunder. Bishop g6 picks up the rook, and he will just push the d pawn, e pawn, and win. So Jayendra resigned. Yeah, that was the second round victory for Siddharth. So till now there has been no fight back from his opponent. It has been all smooth sailing. Let's see what happens in the third round. He's facing a tougher, more rated opponent, 1102 Nishwant. Siddharth starts with Giko piano, but Nishwant plays knight f6, allowing flight lever, but Siddharth just plays d3. Quiet Italian game. Okay, it has now become Giko piano. Bishop g5, pinning the knight. h6, bishop goes back, castles, knight c3, knight d4, just an exchange, and knight d5. So here, white is actually threatening knight takes knight or bishop takes knight. So black has to stop it by playing g5. You cannot let white take on f6 because then pawn will have to take back and king will be open. That is exactly what happened. White just took on f6 and it's a great position for Siddharth. Black king is open. So all white has to do is just get his pieces over here as fast as possible and make threats. And he does that. After c3, bishop goes, queen g4 check, king h8 and queen h5. To defend this pawn, you need to play king g7, right? But he does not do that. He just gives up the pawn. And that's not just the pawn. After king moves, bishop takes f6 and threat of g7 is stoppable only by giving up the queen. Queen takes, and now it's a very, very easy victory for Siddharth. He just castles long, defends the threats. King c2 was better. Anyway, king h8, queen moves, and now e5. When there is no need for black to give up his rook, but he could have just moved it, but he just gives it up. He gives up the bishop. And queen check, king f7, rook. Just bringing all his pieces over, and it's really fun for white. Check, takes, checkmate. So another easy game for Siddharth. So after 3 rounds, after the day one, Siddharth is leading with 3 points out of 3, along with many others. I think there were 6 people who were on 3 out of 3. The second day, what was waiting for him? Let's see. Round 4, Siddharth was facing Samartha. Let's see what happened. We have a Sicilian from Siddharth. Samartha plays d4 and d5. He goes back. Just a normal Sicilian position. d6 is played. Exchange, and now a pawn is gone. So basically in this position, after d6, black is threatening bishop takes, and knight takes. So white has to play something like bishop d5 or bishop d3 or even queen e2 is fine. But he did not. He just gave up the pawn and Siddharth took it. Just developing his pieces. But now comes knight takes pawn. So this looks like the first time Siddharth is facing some resistance. Of course, pawn cannot take back because queen, rook takes, and rook takes. So he is giving back the pawn. He had to give back the pawn. So here after knight f5, Samartha is getting back his pawn. But it turns out knight takes pawn is actually a mistake. The problem here is we cannot take like this. But Siddharth could have played queen c7. A nice little move that hits the bishop and the knight is still hanging. The knight moves and we take the bishop. So this was possible, but Siddharth missed it. He just played bishop e6. Now it's an equal position. Both sides have equal pawns. So it's the first time in the tournament that Siddharth is facing some resistance from his opponent. And it comes from Samartha in round 4. Let's see what happened. Knight moved back, d5. So it looks like black is still better. Okay, so an exchange of pawns is being offered. Like queen takes c3, rook takes, queen takes, rook takes here. Rook takes, rook takes c2. Now rook d4, attacking the knight and the pawn. Knight is defended, pawn is gone. So even now it's equal, but black takes on a2. Here white could have played rook d8 check, king f7, and then rook d7 picking up b7. That was his best option. Give a check, king moves up, rook d7 and take this pawn. Material will still be equal. Black will have an outside pass pawn, but still equal. Instead, Samartha makes a big mistake here. A big strategic mistake. He just plays rook b5, which is just attacking the pawn. It's not getting the pawn. Black simply plays b6, and now Siddharth has got two pass pawns, connected pass pawns on the outside. Easy win, right? White plays this, and black plays a very nice move, practical choice. He is forcing the exchange of rooks because white cannot say, I don't want to exchange and move back. The rook takes line, right? So rook takes rook, pawn takes, and now there is a pass pawn on the outside. They're double pawns, which means they're not as good as being connected together, but it's still a pass pawn. And it's a knight in game, so it's easy for black to just get his king over and win. He gets his king to a good square, and he goes for a different approach. He goes after these pawns. And he cannot play king d3 here, I suppose, because of knight b4. Like you play knight, king d3, knight b4 will come. Still winning for black, but still you lose this pawn. So Siddharth first plays a5, stopping knight b4, and then he is preparing knight king d3. But now he has got another plan, king b2, and now he will pick up the f2 pawn as well. g2 also falls, because if we move the g pawn, h pawn will fall. So these pawns are just keeping white hooked to this side, while black is doing his hangama on this side. And Samartha resigned here because he's losing the g pawn, and then soon another pass pawn will emerge here. So that is how Siddharth won his fourth game. Now, last two games, round 5 and round 6 remaining. In round 5, he was facing Atik. He was white. Very important game. It just started with a quiet Gigo piano. Both sides making obvious moves. Exchanges. More exchanges. Okay, so after all the exchanges, white looks a little better because black c pawns can become a target, especially c5 and even e5. Okay, now Siddharth takes the chance to jump to f5. As soon as the bishop moves out of that diagonal, he moves to f5 because otherwise it would just be an exchange. Now this knight cannot be kicked away because if you play g6, then of course knight will take h6. So that knight is a strong piece. Queen d2, rook takes, queen b8 is a nice move to play rook b8, queen a5. And that was a big blunder by Atik. An uncharacteristic blunder by a 1400 player. Here, black has to defend both this pawn and this pawn. And there is a way to defend it, it's by playing queen a7, right? But then, yeah, this would have defended both. But instead, after queen a5, there is also a nice little idea of bishop takes e4 according to engine. That's a little hard to see. Basically giving up your piece for two pawns, but then you're hitting the rook and the knight. So after, let's say, knight takes h6, g takes, you can simply move the rook to somewhere safe. Still an equal position, but Atik will be up by a pawn. So these kind of moves you have to find if you want to win against a good player, right? But instead of all that, Atik just blunders with rook c8, falling into a very simple knight fork. And it's a very easy win for Siddharth in the 5th round. Something you could not expect. And from here, it's just a matter of basic conversion. Just picking up pawns, exchanging pieces, and should be a easy win. Now c pawn is going to promote. Just a routine conversion. The f pawn now goes forward. Queens. Okay, and then checkmate. That sets the tournament to a very nice finish. Siddharth is leading on 5 out of 5 after 5 rounds. Right behind him, there was Vaishnavi with 4.5 out of 5 after 5 rounds. And here comes the final round. Whoever wins this becomes the champion. If Siddharth draws it, even then he becomes the champion. He just needs a draw to become the champion. Vaishnavi, if she wins, she becomes the champion. She is the higher rated player going into the match. Let's see what happened. Siddharth was black. e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4. We have a Sicilian, and A normal Sicilian, bishop c5, bishop c4, knight c3, bishop b4, bishop d5, defending e4 pawn, not repeating the mistake Samartha made. Castles, castles, knight e7. This move, all right, black is just preparing to go to g6, I suppose. Bishop g5, bishop takes f6. That's a nice little um, switcheroo by Vaishnavi. Instead of just a routine recapture, she plays bishop takes here. Then it becomes complicated. Bishop takes pawn there, rook b1, bishop pawn takes back. So Siddharth has basically won a pawn out of all this. But in the process, his king side is weak. Can Vaishnavi take advantage of it? Looks a little difficult because only two pieces can come here fast, the knight and the queen. And black can simply play king h8 and use the g file for himself. And that is what Siddharth did. He plays rook b8 first because the pawn was being attacked. Bishop c4, bishop e6. Bishop c4 was a little slow. I mean, I don't understand why she didn't want to allow the exchange of this piece. Okay, maybe this was looking better, so she didn't want to exchange it. Bishop c4, bishop e6, bishop goes back. Okay, that's a little iffy from Vaishnavi. She could have gone back directly then. If she could have expected bishop e6 and gone back directly. And each move is important when you are playing with time. It's actually a game with time. The faster you get your pieces to this side, the faster you'll be able to make threats. And if you give black time to defend like king h8, rook g8 and make threats of his own, then it'll be easy for him. Knight h2, rook g8. So Siddharth uses the g file for himself. Queen f3, knight g6. It's heading to g4. f4. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and now knight f4. So from here, there is no way black could lose, right? He has a very nice knight on the f4 square. Rook is on a good g file. He's up a pawn in the last round of the tournament. I think Siddharth offered draw twice here, but Vaishnavi wanted to continue. King h2, queen f8. So basically, queen is also going to come to g7. g3 at the right time. Knight has to go back, but here Siddharth plays something that makes it a little complicated. He plays f5. So if pawn takes knight, pawn takes back is the plan. But Vaishnavi plays knight takes pawn first. Then Siddharth plays pawn takes knight. And when Vaishnavi takes back, he first takes this pawn. Because if you take here, then queen takes back. When pawn takes, queen takes back. That's still equal. You'll have lost the extra pawn. But by playing this first, Siddharth is still up by a pawn. And in the process, he also manages to exchange of the queens. That's excellent play. That's like perfect way to play the final round. And he has reached a position where he cannot lose. He's up by a pawn, only two rooks on the board with 5 pawns. And this position just does not allow Vaishnavi to do anything. So that just plays rook d8 and then b5. Rook defends it, rook comes forward, rook here. And so that plays rook c8. So if white takes here, black will take, white will take, and then black will take c2 with check. It would still have been a little better for Siddharth, but it looks equal. But he'll be the one calling the shots because he'll be taking on c2 and a2, right? So in this position, Vaishnavi realized that she cannot do anything, and if she goes for this move, then there'll be no coming back. Because once you take here it's a little difficult to calculate all the lines. I mean, it's a little long. But once you take here, the lines are forced. Rook takes, rook takes into king moves back, king rook takes a2. And in that position, you cannot expect Siddharth to give a draw. So Vaishnavi offers a draw right now before big things happen on the board. And Siddharth happily accepts the offer because he just needed a draw to win the championship. And there comes the winner after 6 rounds with 5.5 points, 5 wins and a draw in the last round, is Siddharth of the third quarantine tournament.